And we should be live for the Steelers Depot live stream here on Monday, November 23rd. Let me go ahead and pull it up on my end and send the link to Dave, and then we will get started. Dave, Brian, as always, is here. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm here.
All right, let me.
I'm tired.
Well, yeah, just as you guys saw, I said on the community tab that this stream tonight will only be a half hour, just because it's a really busy week with the Thursday game and all this news breaking. So, just want to do a half hour just for this Monday. We'll be back for our regular hour next Monday. So, just a heads up there. Dave, let me go ahead and send you the link to
I
this.
got the
You
link.
got it?
I got
Okay.
the link. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can start answering these people's questions. Hello, humans.
Hello, humans, indeed. And again, if you guys have a Steelers question, feel free to ask it in the chat. You may want to super chat this week if you're able to, just because we're not going to probably be able to get to every single question because it's only a half hour tonight. So just a heads up, if you want your question to be answered for sure, be sure to send Dave and I a super chat. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start answering your guys' questions. The first one comes from Fat Boy Fishing, who says, "Hey Alex, how much weight do you give Pro Football Focus grades? I.e., I've seen them consistently grade Bud as an average edge defender, but he seems to always play as an above-average outside linebacker. I really respect the monumental task the PFF does. I mean, what they do is pretty revolutionary, at least in terms of the consumer world. So I know the work that goes into that. I'm not trying to slight it, but I don't view that as gospel. Obviously, everything is subjective, and I obviously will go with my own analysis before anything PFF might say.
I think what you need to do when you look at those grades is you need to look at them broken down by pass rush or by against run or in coverage that way, and then kind of dig a little bit deeper down. And obviously they weight things a lot different. We don't have the exact chart. I've seen some things floating around on it and all like that. It's just another tool. It's so hard to be subjective when you grade a this isn't like baseball.
Hmm.
You have plays involved. You don't exactly, you think that most of the time what the responsibilities are in general aspects of it, but a lot of times there's some gray areas in there, and you have to let your eyeball be the complete judge of it. Look, we subscribe to them. We've subscribed to them for a long time, and we will continue to subscribe to them. But even so, it's not the end all do all. We just use it as a point of reference, and then we go from there. And look, they hit on a lot of things, and some other things you have to question.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. He also asked, "What's your confidence in Highsmith as Bud's replacement next year, barring they take an outside linebacker early in the draft?" Dave, what's your assessment of Highsmith as the possible replacement for Bud Dupree?
I mean, so far so good. I mean, obviously we're still dealing with a limited sample size, but I mean he's getting what 10 to 12 snaps at least or so a week, I think,
Hmm.
on average. Uh, so far so good. I mean, more than anything, we're seeing some bend in there from him. We're seeing a counter or two, even on. But then again, you look at the sack that he had against the Cowboys. There was a lot of not good in that. At the first part of that sack was not good, and people say, "Well, how can a sack be not good?" Well, he didn't get himself in a good position to win there, and he had to fight back, and he did make a nice move and got himself on a nice line angle run at the quarterback to get that sack. So there was good in there. So don't get me wrong, but obviously, as with any young player, you need him to get stronger.
Hmm.
That's number one. And look, the fact that he's getting meaningful snaps right now is huge right now. So, I mean, I don't want to pass or fail him right now, but I mean, obviously the arrow's pointing up, and I wouldn't see a reason to to spend an early round draft pick on an edge right now if that's what the question is. I mean, possibly maybe a later, depending on how many draft picks you have, possibly a later one. But so far so good, and we got a little less than a half a season remaining.
I agree. I've been impressed, especially with Highsmith in coverage, just how fluid and comfortable he is going backwards. Not that that's any longer a big component of what the Steelers pass rushers, outside linebackers do, but just that fluidity and just comfort for rookie has been impressive. So I expect him to be the heavy favorite going into 2021 as the Bud Dupree replacement. Mark Leslie, happy Monday, fellas. Happy Monday, Mark. With a number of players likely to be gone next season, referencing free agency, do you feel it's easier to rebuild a great offense or defense? Also, what did you think of Ben's block yesterday? I mean, that's Ben. I mean, he's always gonna, try to do stuff that maybe makes you go, don't do that, Ben. We gotta protect you. But that's just the mentality of him. To your main question, Mark, I would probably lean defense just because the way things are set up schematically and rule changes and just the overall pendulum swings towards the offense at a baseline level in today's NFL. And so I think just from that standpoint, it's easier to build up an offense. Of course, it's harder to find the centerpiece of the offense, the franchise quarterback. But barring that, just in a vacuum, I think it's easier to build up the offense than it is a defense.
Yeah, at first I misunderstood you. I thought you said it was easier to build a defense, but then you clarified. Absolutely, it's easier
Hmm.
to build outside of the quarterback,
Right.
obviously, position. I do believe it's easier to build up a offense than it is a defense. And I mean, look, this team's probably going to lose a lot of players on the defensive side of the ball, this offseason. So they'll get back to probably there'll be quite a few draft picks once again, probably chosen on a defensive side of the ball these next 2 years, right?
Right.
At
Live,
least.
yeah. Live Loyal says Happy Victory Monday, fellas. Same to you, LL. Do you guys think this offense is where it needs to be to compete in the playoffs, or what improvements are we looking for just in terms of the improvements to run blocking? And my metric is basically a little better than what we saw against the Jaguars, where your run success rates around 45% and you're converting short yardage and goal line stuff. If you can do that for the run game, I'm not asking for much here. I'm asking for 4 yards a carry, 45% run success rate, and just convert the short yardage situations. I mean, that's a good enough complement given how strong and potent this pass game has been, and certainly a level that this rushing attack can and needs to achieve. So it needs to be better than where it's been at, obviously, but the bar I've set for it is pretty low. Mike Adesso, happy victory and COVID free Monday, guys. Steelers 10-0 in trap games so far in 2020. Dave, your framing is catching on. I'm too superstitious not to say it again, so how about Jordan Berry? Boo to Canada, though. Yeah, Canada's not been great, but Berry has been very good since circling back to Pittsburgh.
The Steelers have two trap games this week.
What are the two? I saw you tweet that.
Against
Baltimore?
Baltimore and the Ravens.
Okay. So they can be 12-0 after this week. We're rooting for it. Steeler fan 1933. Hi, Dave and Alex. Thanks for all that you do for your readers and listeners. Thank you very much. Did you notice that Terrell Edmonds was wearing gloves yesterday? Are you as you were? I was thrilled for him. Yeah, we did talk about that. Some people tweet me at that. Was that the key to his success? No, although I would check those gloves for stickum. But no, it was just great. I was really happy to see Edmonds succeed and have those big play moments that have been very fleeting, and you could see the energy and excitement his teammates had for making those plays. Mike Tomlin making a reference to it at his press conference today. Just a lot of hard work, I think, paying off in those couple of moments for Terrell Edmonds. All right, next question here from Charlie Doyle, new listener in the chat, it appears. Thank you, Charlie, for being here. Other than the big quarterback advantage of Ben over Jake Luton, do you think Jacksonville played even with the Steelers, or do you think we beat them in other areas too? I mean, Jacksonville, had their moments, and the game was pretty competitive in the first quarter, but no, I don't think they were even. I think in terms of pass rush, I think in terms of secondary coverage, and things like that, Pittsburgh was the better team overall, and that was the expectation going into the game, and that was the end result of the game.
And the Steelers left 6 points, really, at least 6 points on the field, right? With the missed field goal or early
Hmm.
by Boswell, and then the late first half turnover by Ben. When it looked like for sure, 3 points at the very least there. So yeah, I think they outplayed them. Now look, the offense, it took a while to get them going. Get that unit going on into the second quarter, and really the catalyst. I thought the pass play to James Washington over on the left side was kind of the catalyst to that. But yeah, they were clearly the better team, and they beat them just like they should have beat them.
Marjorie Geyer, happy victory Monday. Ravens will come limping in the Heinz Field, and I can't even feel bad for them. I do ache for Joe Burrow, though. Peace and love. Yeah, was it ACL and MCL for Burrow? So hopefully he's ready for week one. That's kind of pushing it. But yeah, that one was a tough injury to watch yesterday.
Sure was. You hate it for that kid.
Hmm.
Talented kid. You just wonder how far it's going to put him behind the eight ball. Next season.
Right, and so the backup, I believe, will be Ryan Finley when the Steelers play the Bengals again. Should be Finley from NC State, I believe. facing him. Mike Adesso, this is Dave Tinfoil hat territory again, but isn't it kind of weird that most of these players around the league are testing positive on Mondays after they play for the week? As David O said, these are test results that come in from Sunday morning, and I think it's not weird because these positive tests are happening throughout the week. They only get notable attention coming out of a game, and they get more attention coming out of a game. So I think we just have a closer eye and ear to these things following a game as we would on a Tuesday where a player may test positive. Frat Boy Fishing. Hi, Alex and Dave. Is Avery Williamson purely just a depth piece at this point, or do you expect to see him get more snaps as the season progresses? Unless Spillane really struggles. I mean, he's been maybe not as strong as he was at the start of the year, or at least started him taking over for Devin Bush. But to answer your question, short and sweet, Frat Boy Fishing. Yeah, I think Williamson is really just depth right now for the team.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I mean, that's what we kind of framed this thing right from the start, right? You know, we were one of the few that did that, you know, and so far so good. Now, does that mean that Spillane can't play himself out of a job? No, absolutely not. You know, but that's where things are. Right. He did play, I think, three special team snaps this week. Finally, talking about Avery Williamson.
What unit was he? Did he come in late or something?
I haven't looked yet. Yeah, I haven't looked. It was just on the initial chart there.
He did play one snap prior to garbage time. One of the 1-5-5 sets they had run on a third down, sometime in the first half. So a very, very small sub package of the sub package. Williamson did see a snap out there for whatever that's worth. Wes Hickok, good evening, Dave and Alex. Good evening, Wes. Thanks for being here. Richard Hudspeth, am I the only one hoping the game gets canceled so the Steelers get a real bye week? No, I don't want the game to be canceled because that means maybe more guys got sick, and Steelers-Ravens Thanksgiving is fun. And honestly, if the game were to get moved from Thursday, they may try to just move it to Sunday. So I don't know if you would even get a bye week out of it anyway, Richard. Brenton717 says, hey guys, thanks for the hard work you all put in every week. Thank you so much, Brenton. Have a super chat here from Aiden Frank. Thanks for the super chat. Sup, Dave and Alex. Happy 10-0. How important do you guys think getting that 1 seed and Heinz Field advantage actually is for this team? I think it's supremely important. Not only do you get the bye week, the only team that would get the bye week, you get home field advantage, and that's going to be important, although I don't think fans are going to be there, unfortunately, based on the news that unfolded a little while ago for the Steelers. But sure, I think it's more important this year because only one team gets that bye, and that puts you 1 week closer to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one less game. You know, obviously you have to play. So, yeah, I think it's hugely important. And, you know, anything can happen in those other games, you know, on top of it. You could have, you know, you just never know. I mean, we've seen some good Steelers teams bow out early, right? You know,
right. Against Jacksonville in 2017.
Right, any given Sunday. So yeah, look, there was a minute and a half last night that the thought went through my head that the Steelers might have a 2-game lead on the Chiefs there. But I knew better overall. It sure felt nice for about a minute and a half,
Serenity.
2 minutes. Two minutes there, but look, just keep playing like they're playing, and even if they get into the final week of the season, if that's still up for grabs, you got to play for it.
I know this is super hypothetical, and I usually am the one to loathe and him and haw these questions, but I'm going to throw this one your way, Dave. What do you think the Steelers' regular season record would need to be to lock up the 1 seed? Basically, I'm asking you, what KC's record is going to be, and can you be 1 game better than that? Is it 14-2? Is it 13-3? What do you think?
I don't know. Okay, you look at Kansas City's schedule. I think really outside of Tampa Bay, right? You know, not too terribly tough. So they might have to be at worst 15-1. You know.
So I mean, I would like to think that if you go 14-2, you get the 1 seed, but you're right. I mean, nothing's guaranteed right now. Jay Stewart, do you guys know the status of the game Thursday? As of right now, and this is just for reference here, Monday evening, the game is still scheduled to be played Thursday. I think Harbaugh said that they've done all their contact tracing and don't expect more positive tests or more guys to go on COVID. Of course, everything is subject to change, but the mission for the NFL, as it has been all year, to try to play the game if they can play it. And right now, the game is still scheduled for Thursday night.
They ain't canceling that game.
You don't think, even if there were more positive tests?
No, they ain't canceling that game.
All right. I mean,
it would take a lot between now and the next. It'd take a lot in the next 24 hours, I think, to get that thing canceled. I just don't see it.
Big losses though for Baltimore, losing Dobbins and Ingram and Brandon Williams. Those are some key components for sure. Mutated genome. I've heard the Steelers' offensive line is a blocking offensive line. I think he's maybe saying pass blocking offensive line. Is it not? Is it not possible to pass block and run block? What good is a one-trick pony offensive line? I mean, obviously, like an offense in general, you have an identity that is more closer to. Closer suited, I should say, to one element of the game, pass or run, but obviously you're looking for both. And again, this offensive line, while they're never going to be maulers and road graders, they can run block. They can do a better job than they have over the last couple of weeks. The first 4 or 5 games of the year, they were pretty proficient, and run blocking certainly good enough. And so they can get back to that level. But obviously, this line was created to protect Ben, which they are doing an unbelievably good job of over the last 5 games.
They just need to execute better. People are reading way too much into this, I think. I mean, they have the they're just not executing at a high level, and the backs aren't helping them out in a lot of these situations. I mean, here we are, we're talking about first world problems here on an offense that just rushed for over 100 yards. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest concern, the things that stuck out positive the other in the game against the Jaguars is you got your short yardage back on track again. That's been really a disturbing aspect the last couple of weeks there. You got you got at least one explosive run in there, and really technically, I guess if you in the NFL, if you consider a 15-yard run, I know some people like to classify a 15-yard run as an explosive run. I don't necessarily, but Connor had two 17-yard runs on top of that. The thing we're looking for is we're looking for high success rates, which it got back to a better level, and I haven't calculated yet, but it was obviously better than what it's been the last couple of weeks there. Short yardage success rate, which they had that, some explosive runs, and you just don't want to see the negative runs. How many negative runs did they have in that game? A
Yeah,
few?
not many though. It's a good
Right.
point. I mean, I don't know the number, but it was not. I mean, it was a couple of kneel downs. Those went down, I guess, as negative runs, but other than that, I mean, very few.
What are they going to say the next time they come out and they rush for 140 yards?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's thank God it's fixed.
Right.
When it's really the same team. Look, Alejandro Villanueva's not known for his run blocking. He's a better pass protector than he is a run blocker, just because the mobility can't really get out to it doesn't have the cat like moves to get out to the second level like that. Pouncey has been better before.
Mm-hmm.
Filer's new at left guard, and I think not as fluid as I thought he might be as a guy on the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you got a core four, which really hasn't looked good at times either. I don't think in the run blocking department. So, still a little bit of a season left. Let's grade this in a totality after the season's over. I
Right.
mean, nothing's going to magically, I don't think, change, in the next couple of weeks.
James Jones, what is the update on the Ravens COVID situation? 3 players placed on the COVID list. That is running backs J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram, and nose tackle Brandon Williams. One of those guys will be available for Thursday, and that is the current status of the Ravens COVID situation. Charlie Doyle, why is Ray Ray getting so many of James Washington snaps? Is it because Washington doesn't get as much separation? No, I wouldn't say that, Charlie. You can do some of the gadgety stuff with Ray Ray. You got to carry on Sunday some of the motion type things and some of the slot work that he is capable of doing that Washington can't do. So it's just specific to Washington's or Ray Ray's skill set. That is the reason why he's getting used in some of those specialty-ish packages.
Exactly. I mean, plus you twitch your athlete,
Right. Right.
and you can line them up in the slot and all like that. And I mean, look, I mean, it does kind of tell you where James Washington, and not that it's a surprise, but
Mm-hmm.
at this point now, but it kind of lets you know where James Washington fits in right now, and really it's because James Washington, and look, we kind of knew this coming out of Oklahoma State. I mean, he was a big playmaker at Oklahoma State, but you play against those kind of defenses and all. You're not facing a lot of press man coverage and all like that. He was able to run by a lot of people at that level. He's more of the got the Marcus Wheaton build to him, more running back build than wide receiver build. He's not overly he's not a guy that's going to long stride you down the field, I don't think, a lot of times on top of it. So he's kind of that second tier wide receiver. And I think that's exactly, the guy that can come in and still play the Z and give you some snaps over there. But When you have a guy like Claypool right now, you're not going to pull Claypool off the field right now.
Hmm.
And as you mentioned, you'll have a guy like McLeod that's twitchier, that can play in the slot, that can give you little gimmick aspects. They line him up in the backfield, and even this past game and all like that. It just kind of lets you know where Washington is in the pecking order here, I think.
Yeah, when Ray got that carry, I said to myself, he's gone
Yeah,
full Switzer. He went to
yeah.
complete Switzer. Switzer had a
I
couple of carries.
I could do without that. Just put him on a jet sweep, or so, give him the ball that
Well,
way.
they
The
tried
guy,
that pop pass
I know.
twice, and it did not work either time.
I mean, the guy's not used to lining up in the backfield getting the
Right.
ball that way.
Sure. Understood. Russ Obenstein, what's up? Alex and Dave and everyone in the chat. Another happy win indeed. Thanks for being here. Russ again here just until 7:30-ish, answering their questions. PBS Snell Senior, hello guys. What's the likelihood of our game against the Ravens being postponed? Thanks for all that you do. I won't say there's no chance, but I think it's pretty remote. And Dave, I know you're pretty confident this game's going to take place, and I hope it does.
0.000.
Oh, not even a 1 in there.
No,
I was gonna
no.
do the Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance, but no, I can't. You shut the door on me. LU, a good question. Let's say the two best teams meet in the AFC Championship game based on what we saw yesterday. Who do you like, Steelers versus Chiefs? I'm gonna get yelled at here, and this is probably more the cynic and pessimist Alex coming out, as he often does. But it's hard to go against the Chiefs. I mean, Steelers are playing unbelievably well this year. I get they're 10-0, but man, Mahomes is just. It's just even his bad games are good games. Like he just can't. Even when you play your best against this Chiefs team, as the Raiders did yesterday, Carr was fantastic. It's still not enough. I mean, it's just hard to pick against that team.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah,
I
I know.
know, but right. I mean, right now, just from an offensive perspective, the Steelers would really have to play an excellent game on defensive side of ball. I mean, that guy's that's got that. Mahomes is the new age, everything you want in an NFL quarterback right now. He's got the arm strength. He can make the play. He can throw from inside the pocket. He can throw on platform. He can throw off platform. He can extend plays. He can throw with the wrong arm, wrong hand. Obviously, look. I mean, this didn't take anything away from Ben Roethlisberger either, but and they've got some good dynamic weapons over there right now, as well as do the Steelers do. And I think their offense being better than more consistent than the Steelers offense makes them the better team. I think that's the difference. Now, can they look, if anybody has shown the blueprint on how to kind of slow them down, I think it's the Raiders, right? But I mean, on top of it, you can't play a lot of man against them, right?
Right. You got to play zone.
You got to play zone, because if you turn your back to him, he's going to take off and run with it for 20 yards at a clip on top of it. So, you're going to have to come up with some good zone disguises and pressures that way, and totally shut down Mahomes down the field that way, and that's a tough chore. Now, it doesn't mean that they're unbeatable,
Sure.
but if picked to choose right now, you'd have to lean that way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that would give you confidence is Steelers' defense is always on a different level than, say, the Raiders or most teams that the Chiefs face, and can they create enough splash plays? They'll give up yards and some big plays, but can they create a couple sacks and turnovers against Mahomes? Sure, they could, and that gives them a better chance than a lot of teams. But it's just, I don't know. The Chiefs feel like they're still the kings until proven otherwise.
You got to get a turnover or two off of them. You can't turn the ball over offensively.
Right.
You're gonna have to beat them in the talk stat too. That means more explosive plays than them. You're probably gonna have to steal an extra possession in the game as well too. Look, they're a good team. That's why they were the preseason favorites and all like that. I mean, it would be it would be the single best game I think you could order up right now.
Right.
And obviously it's too bad if it were to play out and it was to play in Pittsburgh. It'd be too bad that it couldn't, potentially be played in front of a sellout, Heinz Field or something like that, because that could maybe help you in that aspect. But look, they're the two best teams in the AFC right now, I think, hands down.
Yeah, Tyrone Smith has a super chat. The message was retracted, though, so don't have a message there, unfortunately. But thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it.
Maybe he got mad at us.
Yeah, maybe he did. Going back here to the questions. Where am I at here? I got to scroll back up for a couple of them. Saloon has been here, I think, from Brazil. A couple of chats. Appreciate that. Evening, guys. Do you think the Steelers should continue using the mesh charge against the Ravens? What can we do differently against the Ravens' run attack this time around? Thanks for your great work. That's a good question. I mean, they've used the mesh charge now twice in the Week 17 game last year and in the first matchup this year, and it hasn't been incredibly effective. So, do you add a different wrinkle this time? If you use the mesh charge, I get you help take Lamar out of the run game equation, but you then are down one guy if he hands the ball off, which is what the mesh charge is designed to do, and that's given Pittsburgh a lot of problems. If you have 7 in the box, reduce 1 because of the mesh charge, now you only have 6, and that can create some problems. So I think, and I would hope, maybe Pittsburgh does something a little bit differently in terms of plan of attack this time. Would I lose my place again here with the questions? Wes Hickok, I know what they are suggesting with the one question there, Alex, is it possible teams are not disclosing positive tests prior to games to avoid losing active players to the list? I mean, that's a pretty heavy charge. They don't get the results back until Sunday evening or Monday morning, so I think that's just a
I would think
circumstance.
I would hope it'd have to be regulated, and yeah, I mean, I understand the want to put. If anybody understands the whole tinfoil hat thing, it's me. But I would be surprised if anything like that's going on.
Yeah. Let's see. Scrolling back down. The infamous Tim. Hey guys, I usually work Mondays and Fridays and always miss the show. I finally get a day to watch. Have lots of respect for both of you guys and what you do. Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it. Jay Stewart, Alex, what are your thoughts on the upcoming draft? Where could we go in this draft? I'm thinking running back or cornerback because Connor will definitely be gone, and Steven Nelson has not been the best this year. Nelson's played better as of late. He'll be back. Connor will be gone in all likelihood, but running back, you're not going to take that high in the draft. I think offensive line, potentially tight end, are the spots I'm looking at right now, Jay. Mark, we have asked him about the Chiefs, how we match up. I think we covered that pretty thoroughly. Blasting
And
cows.
look, a lot can happen between now and
Right.
mean, with the whole COVID thing, with injuries. I mean, look, they're hunting for another guard right now, I think, and even looking at Wisniewski and bringing him into the practice squad. I mean, a lot can change in the landscape of the NFL, and especially this year with COVID right now. Between now and the time these two teams would meet in the playoffs, so I mean, don't even worry about it yet.
Right. Blasting cows, the Ravens are falling apart. Shouldn't the Steelers destroy them, even as a divisional game? No, these games are always close. I don't think you're any expectations you're going to destroy Baltimore. That's generally not how these AFC North games have gone, especially with so much on the line here for Baltimore. Let's see. Jeremy Coakley, Derek Watt has not replaced Nix. Need better blocking to get to the second level. Defenses seem to be gaining some sort of tell and expect to run. Need to get more draw plays and play action into it. That went to a question earlier I missed, I think, before the chat live stream started about, are the Steelers the only team that doesn't use a fullback? I mean, Watt played 11 snaps. He hasn't been healthy this year. Nix wasn't healthy last year, so they just haven't had a fullback available to them. But point taken, Jeremy, on everything you're saying there about maybe some tells and adding some different dimensions to the run game.
I mean, how many actual plays has he? He had what 25 plays before the last game. I think I forgot to count how many since then. He's played under 50 snaps easily. I think still, and how many of those have actually come in meaningful time? Talking about not in the final two series when Mason Rudolph, because 6 of his 11 snaps in this game against the Jaguars came in the final 2 possessions. 3 of those were the final kneel downs, right?
Right.
All right. So how many of the total snaps that he's played so far have actually been in meaningful time with him lined up actually in the backfield?
Yeah, I mean,
And how many
25.
runs have they run in that meaningful time with him in the backfield? Not many. I mean, so we don't have a large sample size on it at all.
Right. Yeah, it's probably about 20, 25 such runs that you're describing. Just has not been healthy, so it's hard to use a fullback when you don't have one, obviously.
You think it's been that many? Maybe it has, I guess. But I mean, there was a lot of them with him out on the edge, and a lot of the other ones later in games, and then the one game where he hurt his hamstring he was only on the field about 3 or 4 snaps before that happened.
Right. The Texans game, I think that was. Yeah. Let's see. Squanchy says, "Yo, man, does it piss you off how the media talks about us? I believe we would play hard and compete with any team, including the Chiefs." We probably didn't like our answer about the Chiefs Steelers preview, but yeah, I get it. I get it. I got asked this today in an interview about national media stuff, and I just tune that stuff out most of the time. To be honest with you, I get some of the disrespect and crazy stuff that some of the national media heads say. You know, oh, is Ben going to be cut and Tua going to get cut and that stuff. You just kind of roll your eyes at and move about your day.
Damn, I think they're getting a ton of respect right now for the most part. I mean, yeah, the crazy stuff about Ben getting cut and all like that. We talked about that on the podcast this morning. But I mean, you can't turn the TV on right now then without them talking about 10-0 Steelers right now. You know,
Right.
on any of the shows right now. I don't know why people look. We don't pay attention. We're so busy writing stuff on our own site. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I mean, obviously some of the stuff's so wacky that you can't help but tweet it out and write about it, you know. But for the most part, I'm not seeing the national, uh, I guess, majority disrespect that everybody's claiming is out there. And I'm
Yeah.
and I'm on the internet all damn day, you know.
Right. I don't even watch a lot of TV, so that'd be my advice. Just tune it out. Got more questions here. Arthur Hamblin, Steelers are wearing color rush. Are they really wearing color rush? I
Yeah,
don't think so. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
They just
They
yeah,
announced
that
that.
happened while we're on this stream. They released that.
Okay, what are y'all thoughts on those jerseys? I like them. I think they're really cool
Love them.
looking. Yeah. So hopefully they bring this team more good luck. See any more chats? Maybe the last one or two here. Artudo, hey guys, question: do you see any serious issues with the play calling? Do you see Ben basically taking over those duties the later the season goes and the worse Fichtner's play calls get? I know this is a topic that Dave's talked about a lot and has pushed back.
It's BS. I mean,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah, it's obviously like, one thing, and just quickly here, because I know we went up with the stream. There were some of the second and long runs that obviously I don't like and would rather do with that, but this is still a team that's like thrown the ball in 4 of the last 5 games 40 plus times. I mean, so they're throwing the ball plenty. So I think it's hard to call a perfect game as an offensive coordinator, especially in Pittsburgh. So do I love everything Fichtner's doing? No. Are there improvements? Sure, but I'm not as upset as probably the majority of fans are.
Yeah, I'm not near as I think people. I just don't get me started on that.
Eric Coakley, Steelers Depot has so many articles. We do. It's kind of our thing around here, giving you guys as much information as possible. And we have any other questions I can get to here quickly? Dave, what are the odds the Steelers signed Derek Rivers? This is from Carly McAdams. Rivers signed to the Rams claimed him. I saw that today. So he's been claimed by the LA Rams. So nope, not going to happen, Carly. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the stream. Again, had to cut things short a little bit today because of how just crazy this week is with the Thanksgiving game hopefully happening on Thursday versus Baltimore. So that's going to wrap up today's stream. Dave and I will be back next Monday to talk about the Ravens game. And hope you guys have a very good Thanksgiving and be safe. Actually, we do have a super chat here from Tyrone Smith, who I think that from the message retracted earlier, so let me get to that. Says, what are the chances Samuels gets cut for a player with more upside, and whom do you think that could be? In terms of getting cut now in season, it's not going to happen after the year. I mean, I don't think he's really going to have enough value next year. But with Connor being gone, he may come back and come hang around in camp, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's stream. Dave, as always, thank you for being here.
All right, thank you everybody for the support and all. Fantastic last couple of months. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for being a regular, on these live streams as well too. Peace and love, and have a safe holiday. Thank you.
All right, guys, we will talk to you next Monday. Thank you for being here, and we will talk to you soon.